Hey there and welcome to Ham Radio. If you're listening to this, you're on the right channel. So you should definitely just stick around, grab a cold one, wait a little bit, and see what I'm going to say when I go live.
Hey, I'm here too, weekly on Wednesdays at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or ish, whenever.
Hey there and welcome to Ham Radio. If you're listening to this, you're on the right channel. So you should definitely just stick around, grab a cold one, wait a little bit, and see what I'm going to say when I go live.
Hey, I'm here too, weekly on Wednesdays at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or ish, whenever.
Hey there and welcome to Ham Radio. If you're listening to this, you're on the right channel. So you should definitely just stick around, grab a cold one, wait a little bit, and see what I'm going to say when I go live.
Hey, I'm here too, weekly on Wednesdays at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or ish, whenever.
Hey there and welcome to Ham Radio. If you're listening to this, you're on the right channel. So you should definitely just stick around, grab a cold one, wait a little bit, and see what I'm going to say when I go live.
Hey, I'm here too, weekly on Wednesdays at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or ish, whenever.
Hey there and welcome to Ham Radio. If you're listening to this, you're on the right channel. So you should definitely just stick around, grab a cold one, wait a little bit, and see what I'm going to say when I go live.
Hey, I'm here too, weekly on Wednesdays at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or ish, whenever.
Hey there and welcome to Ham Radio. If you're listening to this, you're on the right channel. So you should definitely just stick around, grab a cold one, wait a little bit, and see what I'm going to say when I go live.
Hey, I'm here too, weekly on Wednesdays at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or ish, whenever.
Hey there and welcome to Ham Radio. If you're listening to this, you're on the right channel. So you should definitely just stick around, grab a cold one, wait a little bit, and see what I'm going to say when I go live.
Hey, I'm here too, weekly on Wednesdays at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or ish, whenever.
Hey there and welcome to Ham Radio. If you're listening to this, you're on the right channel. So you should definitely just stick around, grab a cold one, wait a little bit, and see what I'm going to say when I go live.
Hey, I'm here too, weekly on Wednesdays at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or ish, whenever.
Hey there and welcome to Ham Radio. If you're listening to this, you're on the right channel. So you should definitely just stick around, grab a cold one, wait a little bit, and see what I'm going to say when I go live.
Hey, I'm here too, weekly on Wednesdays at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or ish, whenever.
work. You know what this is? I call this the reverse Asian. That racist. Welcome to Ham Radio. Welcome to the show. It's Wednesday. So Wednesday means, hey, we're doing a live stream. And also on top of that, it means that it's one day closer to death. So welcome. We're here. All right. We're queer. We're in gear. It's, 7 o'clock Eastern time in Pacific. We're here in UME Studios, Florida. And we have a fairly interesting interview today with a man that I wish I could be inside of on a day-to-day basis. But unfortunately, he seems to be a married man, and he's very happy with his wife. So I'm not going to be able to get what I want from him, which is lots of love. No sex, lots of love making. In Gentleman Wake, we're here with DJ Daniel Dizzle. If you could show yourself here. DJ Daniel Dizzle. There you go. How you doing, man?
Happy Wednesday, Cake.
Okay. For a second there, I really thought you were just going to say... like happy birthday, and then or say happy Wednesday, and then say your name, and just be like, thank you. For that.
I won't call you Robert.
Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that, man. So we're here in UME Studios, Florida. Stop playing with Skype, Danny. Says Denkula, which is funny. We're here. We're gonna have a nice little bit of an interview. However, as usual, I have to do a little bit of you called it a monologue?
Yes.
I'm not calling it a monologue.
What are you calling it?
As much as me calling it me ranting as to things that bother me right before we actually get to the main show. Now, here's the thing. I was showing you lyrics to a song here, which I was talking to another friend yesterday, and I keep getting surprised as to the vibe of these 80s rock songs. The one that I was showing you was 17 by Winger, which you weren't familiar with.
No.
You weren't familiar with the song 17 by Winger. Could you look up the lyrics and put them up here real quick? The lyrics to 17 by Winger. I know you're doing a lot, and I know you're overwhelmed when it comes to the amount of work that you're putting here, because I see you just struggling in the background. What are you doing here?
Popping it up.
Okay, so the lyrics to 17 by Winger are also pretty substantial, and you can't get away with this shit now, which is the part that I had contention with. You can't get away with this sort of stuff now, but they definitely got away with it then. Did you find the shit? Winger 17 right there. A-Z lyrics.
Hold on a sec.
Yeah, okay. You are just earning your paycheck here today, aren't you? You are earning it hard. So 17 by Winger. And what I like about this one in particular is this bar where it says, she whispered sweet and brought me on the floor. She said, I'm only 17, but I'll show you love like you've never seen. She's only 17. Daddy says she's too young, but she's old enough for me.
This is so creepy, bro.
This is not me. I didn't write this. You know what the worst part is? You know what the worst part about this shit is? Yesterday, when I brought this up to a friend of mine, he says, I hope you didn't write that. Like, he thought I wrote this.
I thought you wrote it too, bro.
You thought I wrote this.
Wait, don't look at me.
Let me show you the last bar I wrote. Let me show you the last. I usually have a couple tracks that I write because I'm trying to become an up and coming SoundCloud rapper, because obviously the YouTube isn't working. So I've been on the SoundCloud tip here, and the last lyric that I wrote, I'll tell you right now, it was based on P.F. Chang's. So I wanted to do it on Cheesecake Factory, but unfortunately I never went back to Cheesecake Factory. Then the whole Corona happened, and I couldn't go back. I wrote this hammered, by the way. I wrote these lyrics hammered, Daniel. So I don't know if you could rate my lyric here.
Go for it, bro.
It's definitely not comparable to 17 by Winger, okay? It's not comparable. I'm not going to write about having underage coitus. What are you losing your mind about?
You're good.
Okay. So, no more calamari got my heart hurt. Bitches at the Changs got my dick turned. Ramen kisses give me corona. The knack on that Sharona. Because the knack wrote my Sharona. So,
my Sharona.
Yeah, okay. So that's my previous line. Another song here which I found sus is Into the Night by Benny Mardones.
Okay. Do you want me to look at that one too?
Sure, no, I'll just read it here. It says, she's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they said. Separated by fools who don't know what love is yet. But I want you to know, if I could fly, I'd pick you up. I'd take you into the night and show you love like you've never seen. Could you get away with writing lyrics like this now?
Not at all, bro.
Now
You're going to jail, bro.
In this PC culture, in this lovely situation that we've happen to master ourselves in public. The 80s were mad creepy. 91 is where things got better. Well, I don't know. 91, I would dare argue. I would dare argue that the 90s were probably somewhat worse. Are you a man?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, bro.
Well, that was more 80s. That's not
Cocaine's been always, bro. Cocaine's been always.
Okay. So 70s
cocaine.
Was Coke. 60s was the one that was like a little bit of experimentation.
Well, yeah.
Right.
First it was like the 60s was like the LSD.
And then 90s were pills and Coke.
Everything.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I found those lyrics particularly interesting. I've been on a winger tip. That's why.
No one's ever been on a winger tip.
Well, let me tell you, Kip Winger is a very good musician. So he's not just a.
That's his name?
Kip Winger.
And he named his band after himself?
Yeah.
Tremendo douche.
That's like Joan Jett and the Blackhearts or whatever. It's not the Blackhearts, it's Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. So she's kind of full of shit in that sense.
It's like pig cake and ham radio.
Well, it has to do with the pig motif. So yeah, there is a little bit of full of shitness here. 80s was hair bands from Flock of Seagulls to Poison. Yeah, you're right.
But Flock of Seagulls. I saw Flock of Seagulls.
Okay, so you went to see a band that had a one-hit wonder. That's what you...
Yeah, it was all a one-hit wonder show.
Yeah, but they hate playing that.
What was their song? I forgot the...
And I ran.
Yeah, dude.
Ran so
they have like two or
that.
three okay... They have like two okay songs and then that one bang.
Okay. Yeah, but it's really upsetting. When I reveal your deck, please. No, I'm not going to do that. Magic Orthodoxy says I saw Poison 3 times.
Ooh, I saw Poison too.
I'm sorry, David. You don't look like a Poison guy, man. You don't look like a guy that would go around.
What years did you watch Poison? That's what I want to know. Say the years.
Brett Michaels, that was a Poison.
Yeah,
right?
bro.
Okay, I'm dating myself here. There's a New Zealand band, not Europe, called Dragon. They have a song called "Are You Old Enough?" Well, not to. Okay, we're proceeding, by the way, this interview with talking about bands that spoke about 17-year-olds. So I hope Omar is fine with this intro. Talking about bands. I can see him here. We can't. He's not on yet.
You can see him, but he can't see.
Let's get on. Let's get him on.
Are we ready for this?
Yeah. Let's get. So hold up. Let's add a little bit of an intro first.
Okay, go.
So this individual, all right, before he could actually make a statement defending himself. So this. Oh, not okay. This individual. Omar, I don't know if you watched the previous. I don't think he mentioned that he watched the Eric Leclerc one.
No.
But Eric sent us a whole. His whole list of accomplishments via email, which you didn't do, which is kind of upsetting. But just based on the number one deck review channel on YouTube, the number one Papi Chulo, attractive man on YouTube. Dare I say, the most attractive person I know. Which is Gentleman Wake. So we're going to have him on here. We're going to talk about some stuff. More importantly,
blink when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Ooh, okay. I got that one.
Okay.
Boom.
So he's on here.
He's on.
Right? Omar.
Hello.
There you go. Okay. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you? So hold on real quick. I just want to go over this introduction that you just did. So initially you had me as the number one deck review channel. That's a spurious and dubious claim.
Okay.
We know that to be true. There are individuals in this chat that have more followers than I do, subscribers that I do, who also do deck reviews.
Okay.
So frankly, I'm offended for them on their behalf. And secondarily, if that comment is incorrect, therefore the next comment is incorrect, which is I am not the sexiest person that you know in real life. And that hurts me even more.
Well,
so
I mean,
now we're starting off already with 2 strikes.
Well, here's the thing. I honestly, right now, the sad part is I think you are the hottest guy I know. But as far as Magic Orthodoxy, who's on the chat here, see, he does Magic reviews. You do deck reviews. You do these skits. So what you do is inherently different than what he does. And you guys are both sexy in your own ways.
Perhaps.
You both are sexy in your own way here. So I'm going to pretend like we didn't just chat for 20 minutes beforehand, and this is the first time that I hear from you. But how you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Hanging in there. Social isolating, or social distancing rather, self-isolating. Staying home, trying to be safe, trying to do the responsible thing, and not go to spring break parties on the beach.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, that's the thing that we're all.
I mean, he looks like a spring breaker too,
You do, yeah, especially from that picture that I used of
Oh, by the way, could you not have used a photo from like 12 years ago?
First of all, that wasn't 12 years ago. That was
That was last weekend.
about 5 years ago. I know because
12 years ago.
listen, I had this running bit that I told your wife about, and I'm sure she told you. Where I think I even told you where I would wait till 3:00 in the morning, and what I would do is I would go through your personal page, so not your Gentleman Wake page, but your personal page, and I would scroll through and like pictures of you where you were. I don't want to say the word thirst baiting.
I was thirst trapping before that was a thing.
Well, yeah, you're dating yourself. You're dating yourself at this point. But I would like these pictures at 3:00 in the morning, like 5, 6, 7 in a row. And then I would expect you to send me a message and be like, dude, what are you doing? I didn't get those. So I'm like, fuck, man. So I kept doing it. And I just kept double tapping and liking all these pictures at 3:00 in the morning. And you never responded. And I told your wife about it. And I'm sure she told you. And
Yeah.
I was disappointed. I was disappointed that you didn't respond to my...
I barely ever go on my personal Instagram. So even if you were doing that, and to like, not just do I barely ever go on my personal Instagram, but to click on like the little notification thing to see who's liking and not liking. I haven't posted a picture on my personal Instagram in like 3 months. 3 months, I would say, probably.
You have quite a collection there, actually. I was going through and I was looking through them. You have one where you were kind of shooing away, like a post picture where you were shooting away a wax Trump, which I found very
yeah, that was funny. That was a funny one.
very appropriate. And then you keep scrolling through, and man, let me tell you, I would do dirty things to you. But as far as let me just not take up the entirety of this conversation here, but let me just take you back to when we first met. Oof, right?
Okay.
When we first met, I do believe that it was certain people that turned me onto your channel. And I realized that, wait, this dude's shooting this from Miami because I recognize that fucking highway from anywhere. You know,
Right. The target is what you...
yeah, what was that? That sounded like a nice little bit of a fart there. By the way, are you in your bedroom?
Yes.
Oh, I wish.
A sneak peek into the inner workings, the inner sanctum.
Where the magic
gentleman-
happens.
Oh man, I'm so jealous of your wife. But I saw that video and I saw the target and I realized, hey, this guy's here in Miami, and I was apprehensive that you weren't going to respond to me, which is the funny part. I was like, man, he's not going to respond to me. This guy's look at what he's doing. What he's doing is way better than what I'm just shooting videos like in this sort of thing. So I didn't think you were going to respond to me. And then I'm glad that we actually did that. And we met up in a Cuban restaurant, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, where did we meet up?
Sergio's.
Where did we go?
Sergio's.
Sergio. Yeah, that's right.
Ooh.
Sergio. That's right.
That's the local
Yeah.
spot.
What I like is
What you don't know is that I had like 5 snipers trained on the back of your head just in case.
okay. What you don't know is that I always have 5 snipers trained on the back of my head. I'm on that permanent watch list here, man. I'm always protected. That's why I don't have any fear of like going to anything and getting robbed because I'm always being watched. I'm always being watched by the FBI, so I have no fear. But I remember you noticed me immediately and you're like, no, come here. You're the guy. Because I looked around. I'm like, which Papi? Which one's here? Maybe he looks a little bit different in the videos. You know these girls on Tinder. You see them on the actual app and then you see them in person and you're like, oh, you're 8 times you.
Advertising.
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up there. What?
I said that false advertising.
Yeah, so maybe you did that. I'm like, there's no way this guy's so attractive in a video and then in person he's as attractive. And you are. So that's what drew me in. And I'm actually surprised I talked to you and didn't like just completely drool in our first conversation. But we had I think from that first day I realized that you had a drive and a passion for this thing, which is also what attracted me as far as your content.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, storytelling is really what I love to do more than anything. So, YouTube was an extension of that for me. It was an opportunity to kind of do things that I wanted to do in ways that I wanted to do them, and not have, not be beholden to somebody else's visions, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's again, not to virtually fillet you here, but when it comes to your channel, I do appreciate, and I don't think people tend to appreciate the amount of effort that you go through. We've had conversations about this a lot, where you've ranted on the way back home, and you call me, which again, thank you for that, because that makes me feel like I ever have a chance with you. But when it comes to the amount of effort that you put for your videos, I think that I don't, even the higher channels, even the channels that have, you know, a lot of subscriber counts, I don't think they're putting as much effort as you are when it comes to something as simple as deck reviews. We do have your channel here, right? Is this what my producer's telling me, that we're showing your channel here? But yeah, but the effort that you go through for even a deck review, I think is well over what these other channels put for their videos, which blows my mind because you're one of these channels that's criminally underrated, I think.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And yeah, I mean, honestly, look, the reason I've ranted about this this kind of thing before isn't because, you know, it isn't even because I feel like the people who watch it don't appreciate it or don't enjoy it, but it's more than that. It's almost like I'm not getting an opportunity to for the exposure that I would like for some of the things that I do. And even episodes that I do that I spend a lot of time on, where I do something special, like a particular skit or a little bit that I do or something that really requires extra effort, sometimes those get lost. Like some of my earlier videos have some of the most interesting and most cinematic things that I've ever done on the channel, and those videos only have like 2,000 views, whereas some of the videos more recently obviously have 10,000 views, or you know, or you know, my top video has 25,000 views. Yeah. So, you know, it's a little frustrating sometimes because you want the little things to get seen, and you want the little things to get noticed. So partially that's why sometimes I get a little frustrated.
I think we all do, and that's the part that when it comes to YouTube, we're all trying to figure out, because it's always like, what's going to get attention, but then also what's going to make you feel like you've accomplished something, and that is a delicate balance. But as far as
I feel that bar is always moving, though. It's a moving target, and because it's a moving target, it's very difficult, because you tell yourself, oh, you know, had you asked me 2 years ago, I said, you're about to get to, which, by the way, I'm not at 10,000. I'm like 700 shy of 10,000.
Subscribe to the channel, y'all.
If you would have pulled me aside and said, hey, in 2 years, you're going to be at 10K, I probably would have been happy with that. I probably would have said, you know what, that's awesome. 10,000 is great. But it's always a moving bar where 10,000 is no longer enough. And then, you know, you want 20,000. And once you get to 20,000, anybody who's ever, you know, done any of this kind of social media content stuff is going to tell you, the likes, the subscribers, the follows, the mentions, it's never quite enough, which is why you get like all these people suffering from like burnout and you know, you get the creator burnout syndrome. It's because of that.
But don't you think that's good in terms of that it's changing and you're never satisfied? Don't you think that that's a good thing?
Yes and no. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. There are little moments of satisfaction, like plateau for a little while, where you're like, okay, you're happy with where you are. You feel like you're moving in the right direction. You feel like growth is good. But like I was mentioning to you right before we got on stream, I just did this 80s video, which I spent an ungodly amount of time doing. I mean, it's a 25-minute video. So in and of itself, if a normal 7-minute video takes me anywhere between 6 to 12 hours to create, you can imagine what a 25-minute video takes. And especially one that has skits and has bits and has graphics and has design elements that are unusual for the channel, they take me even longer to do. And when you put out a video like that, and in the first day it was very good, the visibility was fantastic. I had at one point during the premiere, it was almost 100 people watching just during the premiere and commenting, and it was a lively chat, and I had the most views in the first 10 hours of any video that I had put up. Considering that the last video prior to it was another top 10 video, which always do very well for me. Yeah, anyway, I'm short and it's too late for that already, but the video had very high impressions. And for whatever reason, YouTube just decided, you know what, we're going to throttle those impressions all the way down. So I went from having like this huge chunk of impressions to having, man, I would say a tenth of the impressions.
That's the shitty part, fighting against that.
Yeah. So that's very frustrating and a little bit demoralizing, right? So you have both things to happen. You have, okay, here's the plateau, I'm good where we are, but also here's the reality that smacks you in the face every once in a while. You know? And obviously, you know, I can't talk about my channel without in some way referencing the Parlor. The Parlor was the highest of the highs for me, right? Like the most the pinnacle of what we've been able to achieve with the Gentleman Wake channel. And I say we, it's not just me. It's obviously my wife's involved, but it's the community in general. It's the people who come to the channel, who watch the channel every day. There's people in this chat who I recognize, who are constantly watching videos and commenting on videos. So what we've been able to achieve with the Gentleman Wake brand, the parlor was by far and away the pinnacle of what we were able to do, and it was a smashing success, a resounding success, one of the greatest successes of my life, let alone my YouTube career. And obviously the situation currently being what it is with the pandemic and the economy crashing, and the recession that we're all probably going to be going through for a long time, it's frustrating because you want to follow that up, right? You just like you want to follow up the 25,000 view video with another video of equal or more stature. You want to take the parlor and you want to follow that up, and that's been a challenge now, especially. We had some plans to do some things and had to pull back a little bit and had to kind of reassess.
Yeah, the importance.
So it's always going to be a challenge. It's always going to be trying to reach that next level. And there's a saying in the Cuban saying,
Que volar? Que vuelta?
You basically one step back leads to two steps forward.
Say it in Spanish, though. I want to see you say it in Spanish.
I can't remember it off the top of my head. That's probably why I switched over to English, because I couldn't remember the exact phrase.
Espero que no ladra, no come.
No, that's not it.
I'm glad he shot that down immediately. I just like hearing you talk Spanish. But here somebody says real quick, not to change subjects too quick, because I think that there's a lot of value in that. But it says, y'all going to release the uncensored footage of y'all doing the Copac collaboration.
Let me say y'all.
It's interesting. That exists. I have that footage.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I love about that particular day too, is that I didn't particularly style my hair in any way at that time period in my life.
Oh, fucking.
But you didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that I looked like a homeless vagrant. I wish you would have told me, like, dude, fucking at least put some water in your
shower.
I was fucking head out, so I wasn't exactly concerned with hair, how your hair was styled that day.
As a person.
Having said that, like, for instance, I have one of the videos I've been trying to put out is I just have to sit through the 25 minutes of it, is the Gaff Deck, the parlor Gaff Deck tutorial that we shot.
I was gonna ask you about that. Yeah, we had a nice little bit of a video.
We came over to my studio, to the gentleman's study.
Yeah, I did.
And we went through all the Gaff cards in the Gaff pack, and we showed, we had examples of how you might be able to use them. But at the time, you hadn't done your face reveal yet.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Entire video was shot without showing your face. Were we doing that today? Were that happening right now? I would have obviously had a camera where we can see you kind of, in full, kind of.
I think that saves the viewers a lot, though.
Don't get any ideas.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was already gonna get into something there, but we had a wonderful night that day. I remember it was passionate. It was a great night of working really hard towards a goal. And that particular goal that day was shooting a nice little bit of a video, unfortunately. But yeah, I've been looking forward to that one too, man. I've been looking forward to that.
Yeah, I got to put that out. Again, it's a process of looking through the 25 minutes and kind of editing it down, because, I mean, we went pretty long. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah, we did. I'm definitely interested in seeing the I want to see the uncensored Copac video, because that was the first one we did. That was the first video we ever shot together, right?
Yep.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I just have to go. I think I sent it to you, didn't I? Didn't I send you a copy of that? I think I might have sent you a copy of that at some point. But yeah, I'll have to go into the
archive.
The archives and pull up the project and relink it, because I mean it's been a couple years probably now.
Oh man, yeah, you make me feel old.
I can just maybe re-export it,
Okay, yeah, that'll be I don't know, just interesting. I was looking for the episode that me and Daniel shot from a while ago, where I carefully censored each frame that I accidentally may have shown my face. We did a Hot Chips.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah, I couldn't find it because, unlike you, when it comes to me having any sort of, like a modicum of your 20 years of experience have led you to do things that I don't.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. That's true. So I don't back anything up. So it's gone. That's forever gone. So.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I just recently was having a conversation with my wife, with the lady wait, where we were talking about like, hey, we might need to get a new backup drive. You know, each one of my backup drives are like ridiculous. They're like 10 terabytes or
Holy
whatever.
shit, dude.
And we filled up one, and the second one is like 75% full. And I was just bringing it up that maybe we want to get a new one. And she said, she made the point, like, you know, do we need footage from 2 years ago? And I was like, you know what, you're right, we don't. We could just start erasing stuff. But I haven't done that yet, which might be a good thing, because it might mean that episode is still and maybe what I'll do is I'll just delete like the regular deck, like, you know, some random deck review I did, like the Romeo and Juliet deck or whatever, and keep like the more special episodes kind of, you know, in their entirety. But, you know, I've just, look, the reality is, you know, the current pandemic situation's probably brought down everyone's energy a little bit. I don't know about you. I know myself. I find it's harder to motivate myself when things are kind of. The real thing is, I'm thinking, you know, who's gonna buy playing cards right now? You know, like who will watch reviews about playing cards when the world is upside down?
This guy. Are you, Daniel? Are you willing to tell your expenses?
Maybe it's an escape thing. Maybe, you know, maybe it's instead of buying the playing cards, they want to see the playing cards. Maybe that's enough, and that's what I haven't been thinking about. But I have a number of videos that I want to release. One of which is that Parlor Gaff Deck video. Another one is we went to LA last fall. I'm looking at your chat. RB, yeah, man, I don't understand how that house blend video is one of my favorite videos. The bicycle house blend deck only has 3K views.
Well, I think you're measuring success in terms of views, and I don't know if the views are directly tied to your satisfaction with the video. Is that somewhat of how you see it, or
look, honestly, maybe, but like, for instance, that particular video, that house blend video, we did that, and people who haven't seen it, there's a entire bit at the top with like a zombie lady wake. It's like a mini horror movie that we shot. It was a lot of fun making it. I think it looks and sounds great. You know, it's definitely not cringy like some of the stuff I do where I act nice more quickly. But that video only has 3,000 views, and maybe it's the deck. Maybe nobody cares about the house blend deck. I get it, but my goal for the channel was always to create a place where no matter what content I created, people would want to watch it. Right? They were coming for the channel, rather for the content, for me in essence, rather than whatever the deck I was showcasing was. I mean, ultimately, if you've seen one Naka deck, if you've seen one Fontaine deck, you've pretty much seen them all. Like, let's be honest. If you've seen a United States Playing Cards Company deck, it doesn't even matter who made it. Like, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah,
you know?
No, you're right.
And I thought to myself, you know, how could I make this interesting? And what I wanted was to have a channel where people could come and, never knowing what to expect, would always be entertained even as they got their deck review, you know? But you know, evidently 3,000 views for a video that I put in the tremendous amount of effort into wasn't exactly the goal, right? Now, granted, that video is a couple years old. I probably didn't have 3,000 subscribers when that video was released. In fact, I probably had less than 1,000 subscribers when that video was released. So the fact that even 2,000 people went back or more to watch it, I guess that's a good thing. I just wish more people got a chance to see that. And maybe one day what I'll do is I'll put together like a Gentleman Wakes top 10 skits I've done on the channel kind of video.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that would be definitely great.
Where I kind of just like piece together all the bunch of skits, like the you know, Kenny Rogers bit, the Chris Ramsey bit that I did, like all the different you know, all the different things that I've done over time. To see if people are interested in seeing that stuff.
I know it just happened to me here, but I think you should be a little bit more positive about, you know, just 3,000 views or any sort of views. Just was like, I understand that for you it's different. I don't want to say that, you know, I obviously, because my channel, if we compared the amount of editing that I have to do for my channel compared to even a fraction of what you do just for your intro is probably you won't go far if you're relying on my channel. But just in the sense of that, man, I think that you should definitely be more positive about what you've been able to make, because your content is really second to none. And when it comes to the bits, when it comes to the skits, when it comes to just the creativity, I don't think I've seen anybody do that. So even if it's 3,000 views, well, it's just unfortunate other people haven't watched that. But by the merit of the video alone, it's fucking top notch. That's for sure.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. And you've always been very complimentary of what the work that we do, and I really appreciate that. And believe me, this isn't to say that I'm ungrateful or
yeah, you mentioned that.
If there's any sense of resentment or anything like that. It's none of that, right? It's like I love making videos. I love when people watch them, when people enjoy them, you know, and I make them just as much for myself as I do for the people at home watching them. So it's impactful and meaningful for me to do them regardless. That 80s video, I had a shit ton of fun making it, regardless of whether or not people skipped it or didn't watch it or thought it was long or thought it was short, whatever, you know. I'm just looking at some of the comments here, and you know, and it's true. And when you look at it through the lens of relativity, right? Like Magic Orthodoxy mentions, David says, you know, Daniel Madison has 70K subs and his last interview had 4K views. Yeah, I get it. Like Daniel Madison with 70,000 subs gets the same amount of views that I get on a video. That's great, you know, fantastic. And you know, and you know, but at the same time, you know, RB says Lady Wake's channel deserves more views too, and dare I say it, it's more interesting than playing cards. And that's something that I 100,000% agree with. Jerry. You know, the fact that you know, the stuff that that we've been able to do on her channel is just, I mean, if 3,000 views is frustrating for me on my channel, like, can you imagine 300 views? Because that's what we're getting. Like, we're putting just as much effort, if not more, doing things that are more interesting with an on-camera person, in my wife, who's much better than I am. I mean, I'm not even gonna pretend.
I could argue about that. I could argue that point.
To be as interesting as she is. I mean, she is, camera trained. She's a professional showman. She's a performer. So, you know, and that's been extremely frustrating too. 300 views on a channel where we're like pouring our heart and soul into, and I see it in her too, because I know it's a struggle for her, because you know, she doubts it every once in a while, and I tell her, look, it's not what you're doing. It's like what you do to me when you tell me, hey, don't doubt what you're doing, don't doubt your creativity, don't doubt quality, you're doing good shit, you're doing good work, it's worth it.
It's a different reason though, but okay.
I do the same thing with her because I believe those things. So to hear you say that is not, I'm not like, oh, this guy's crazy, like I don't understand where he's coming from. No, I get it. I live that on a daily basis to a degree. But it's hard. It's hard when you're in the trenches, just like I can relate to my wife feeling that way, because I know when you're in that moment, when you're battling to create and you think you're doing a good job, and all you want is the appreciation of that, right? The appreciation of that effort. And like you said, like underappreciated, or what's the other one that gets thrown around a lot?
Sexy? Good looking?
Okay.
That's my underappreciated, and what's the other one, that the other common way of saying that?
Undervalued,
there's another one. There's one in particular, underrated.
Okay.
Right? Rated. When you hear those things, you think, okay, well, it's underrated, but why? Why is it underrated? Why is it not being perceived or seen as much as it should be? So
yeah, that's the unfortunate part, and I think that's a struggle for each and every single person that like tries to find their way into this platform.
Battle, right? That's like the artist battle.
Well, especially because you're fighting not only against that, but you're also fighting against YouTube, and you're trying to get attention, and it's a very competitive sort of media, because here, imagine your channel started out with 0. You know, you went from 0, and that's something that I remind you a lot. You went from 0 to what you have now, almost 10,000 followers. And whereas you're putting a lot of effort for these videos, I still think that you look at the majority. It took me essentially looking at Magic and sorting by new on YouTube to see what it is that is the competition. And there are thousands of channels that...
That's the thing, though, man. That's the tricky thing, because outside of my colleagues, Magic Orthodoxy, and a couple of other guys, there isn't a lot of people doing this kind of thing, and there isn't a lot of people who are pushing the envelope, so to speak, in the world of deck reviews to make it a more trendy kind of niche.
But this is something we were talking about too earlier, which is the idea about expanding it. And I think that you'd be great if you expanded into other things that aren't necessarily just your own interests. I remember first having conversations with you, and obviously you came in here to this land of virginity. You came in not a virgin, all right. You came in with a good acumen of interests and hobbies that don't necessarily push away the ladies, but you do have a lot of things that would push away the ladies, but you got them early. Your trick is that you reel them in, and then you marry them. Right. And the only way for them to separate is through heartache and paperwork.
You marry them?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, granted, I did get married at 40, so
Okay, but my point is that I think that you should kind of try to see that, do that and try to make content about those aspects of your life. And I think that you might find that a little bit rewarding, and, you might actually find a new audience in that. I think that's what we're talking in. If card reviews are becoming just a little bit, because I get burnout, it's common. It's expected almost.
Yeah, what's interesting is when I started this channel, when I started the Gentleman Wake channel, my first 3 videos on the channel had nothing to do with playing cards.
Yeah.
The first video I ever put up on the channel was a trip to London that I went to with some friends, and I did like a vlog. It was like a cinematic vlog. My friend was turning 40, and it was like this long piece. It's like an 8 or 9 minute piece that I did. And the second video I think was my wife, wedding vows for my wife.
Aww.
And the video I put up, or the second video maybe was the third. Maybe that was the third video. And the second video was like this, like kind of short story, kind of short form, narrative essay kind of thing. It was called The Monster. It was about like this Frankenstein idea, like the Frankenstein, the idea of piecing together a perfect person by Frankensteining all the bits from different people, And what happens when you find that monster, when you find that Frankenstein, that which inevitably was my wife, right? When I met my wife. Interesting to compare your wife to Frankenstein, but you get it.
Metaphorically.
But those were the first 3 videos that I put up. So initially, and I had actually begun a shot, like the first half of a, I shot like the first half of a channel trailer. I did this really elaborate channel trailer. We're talking like drone shots and aerials over the cars, and I ended up using actually some of the car aerials in that video that you saw of me trying to target, because I didn't shoot those aerials for that video. I already had them. I had banked those aerial shots and figured and thought to myself, oh shit, I can use these aerial
20
shots.
20 years of experience.
But yeah, like I didn't start off with the idea of playing cards. Playing cards came much later, and I was like, oh, you know what? I like cards. These are cool. I started getting into them, and I started feeling like, I have if anybody who's watched my channel knows I have a very distinct way of describing things. The way I go into the minutia, the detail, the way my word choice. I'm very
highly sexual.
Right, whatever.
Agreed.
I'm very particular about my choices of how I describe things, and I think that's a benefit, right? That's a positive, especially when you're reviewing products. So the combination of those things made me think, oh, you know what? Maybe playing cards will be a thing, and it was easy, right? Because I didn't have to go anywhere to shoot it. I shot it in my living room, and then it was about how creative could I get about making a deck review. That's why a lot of those initial deck reviews, a lot of the early deck reviews have a bunch of little skits or a bunch of little things. That kind of stuff kind of stepped aside as the channel grew and people were coming for the cards.
Okay.
But that's one thing that I didn't want really. I wanted more people to come because they wanted me. They wanted to see what I had to say about whatever subject it was that I was talking about. That
But
week.
okay, but playing cards specifically, like, okay, I understand that you kind of stumbled upon that by accident, but you could have stumbled just as easily onto, I don't know, pocket knives or anything like that. But why?
Yeah.
Like, what specifically?
Well, playing cards in particular because, well, look, I used to love art history. Art history has always been one of my things. I consider myself an artist, although I'm not as, polished as, Lorenzo Gagiotti is.
Certainly sculpted.
Or Jack Robinson. But if I gave it enough time, I wholeheartedly believe that I could, produce art on that level. If I gave myself the energy and the time and the dedication to do it. So to that degree, cards allowed me to kind of have a vicarious, experience. Like I could look at a card and see the elements of design that I thought were good, and I could also look at a card and see the elements of design that I didn't like. And that was important because up until when I started kind of doing deck reviews, I felt like all the deck reviews were really just unboxings. Like people would, they would show the cards, they would explain what the cards looked like, they would show you what the box said, they would show you what the cards looked like, but there wasn't any commentary. There wasn't like, oh, I don't like this because, or this is great
research that they had done.
Right, exactly. So one of the things that I wanted to do was, I'm a big fan. I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Nerd Writer on YouTube, and he does like video essays.
Yeah.
These very cool, very in-depth video essays. He does his research. They're well edited. They're well presented. And to me, I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to kind of try to emulate, not emulate that per se, because my style is different certainly than his, obviously, because I shoot footage when he doesn't really. He mostly just does just graphical kind
overlays,
of interplay. How could I, bring that kind of vibe to a deck review? And my first deck reviews didn't have that so much, but as it we progressed, I started to inject more about little history bits and talking about, well, why is this the way it is, and where's the inspiration coming from, and what does this remind me of?
That's what got me to your channel, to be honest with you. It was all those things. I remember when I first started watching your channel, Omar, it was those things where it was like, I would watch your videos, and I'm like, dude, this guy's got to have 10 million views, bro, because I was like, it's amazing. And then, I love your stuff. I've always been a fan.
What I don't know yet, okay? What I don't know yet is the mass appeal of the playing card world, right? Like, how much appeal do playing cards really have, right? Like, if tomorrow the YouTube algorithm were to bless me with a million impressions, in an hour, how many people would click on it, and how many people would stay on it, and how many people would be intrigued? Because I do have a feeling that there are a lot of people that don't even know that playing cards are a thing, meaning they just know the bicycle deck and the B deck and what they've seen at casinos, and they have no idea that you can buy a custom deck of cards that has any particular stylistic or artistic merit in and of itself. That's not something that people know,
I think there's an audience in that.
I think there's a lot of people that even know about cardistry or any of that.
That's a good thing.
Not that I do. But the point is that when you combine all those aspects together, would it be enough? Would it be enough to like the Rise Magic guys that we talked about earlier, that put an ASMR video and people like flipped out and a million views? You know what I mean? So is that something that can happen with a deck review? Is that something is someone going to sit there and watch it and think to themselves, oh, this is well shot, well done, well presented, but it's about something I really don't care to watch?
I think so. I think that surprisingly, it's in a type of, I don't know if you've ever seen these, like these Reddit posts of like, dude, this guy does this, but he does it stupidly good. And it's like the most mundane sort of theme, but it's shot well, and it's obviously a lot of effort, and you have a lot of people finding that sort of stuff appealing. I think that it could definitely find appeal in that. But yeah, you're right. It is certainly a niche of a niche, because imagine you have a niche already, which is magic, cardistry, and then from that you have the niche of cards and card enthusiasts. But I think there's an audience there. I do definitely think that it's there. It's just a matter of getting to that. Yeah,
and I try my hardest, and I know you knowing me in my personal life, you know that I am a person of opinions. I have opinions about a lot of things, and a lot of those opinions don't make it to the kind of the public face of the Gentleman Wake channel, because I try to keep, I don't try, I certainly don't try to politicize the channel. I try to keep anything that would be polarizing
we gotta
away.
We gotta get you on 3 fingers of whiskey on the live stream. We gotta get you on 3 fingers of whiskey, and then I bring up Trump and see what happens.
Well, like the reality is, all that stuff. Maybe that stuff is more interesting. Maybe that stuff is the type of stuff that if I did it in my style, people would come around to, because it's more general. It's more, and I don't mean like controversial. I'm not talking about like I'm gonna be the next Joe Rogan, or even Joe Rogan does more mundane topics. I don't want to be the next Rush Limbaugh, okay? Or
Joe Rogan.
Or
that's not Rush Limbaugh.
Or
no, Joe Rogan.
Rush Limbaugh, anti-Rush Limbaugh. But whatever it is, I think I haven't figured it out. So and I don't know. Part of me doesn't want to disappoint the 10,000 people who subscribe to me now, because if the time should ever come where I start to do other things that are not playing cards related, are those people going to be pushed away? Are those people going to be like, he's not doing deck reviews anymore? Because I think you get that even with Chris Ramsey, right? Chris Ramsey is now the puzzle guy, but for a long time he wasn't the puzzle guy. He was the cards guy. And now he became the puzzle guy, and all the people that followed him because he was the cards guy give him shit about being the puzzle guy. So,
go full Chenk, says Jasper. Yeah. You should go full Chenk. But no, you're right. And that's the struggle that I think most people face when they find a little bit of success, which is, I don't want to alienate my older audience, and I definitely have an allegiance to them. You have people that don't give a fuck, which I think are you don't want to be on that boat. But you also have, because right now, speaking of Ramsey, you look at his videos that are related to Magic, and they're like, hey, where are the puzzles? So, he's completely transitioned in terms of his audience, finding more of an audience in puzzles than with anything Magic related per se. But at the same time, look at the success. Look at what's the upside of that, and you have to kind of weigh that.
Right.
So it's definitely a double-edged sword, and I think that every person that decides to take this up, whether passively or as attempts to make it their full-time living, they go through that struggle, and it's definitely not something that everyone gets right off the bat. We were mentioning Rise Magic earlier, and the same thing that Dan Pizza just said. The Rise Magic were constantly changing up the way they do things, and ASMR just hit and they went with it, just like Ramsey and puzzles. And it's just a matter of, as I mentioned earlier, throwing the net and seeing what catches. But as long as you're enjoying throwing that net, I think if you get to the point where you're throwing that net and you're killing yourself, then maybe that's a good sign to maybe move on.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber that I've been watching lately, and he's been around forever. His first video was like 11 years ago. Tom, hold on, his name is Tom. He's like an English guy.
Like the fish and chips.
And he does like
Jesus. What?
He does like videos that are like little mini video essays and stuff. He recently had a video that trended because he wrote code so that the title of the video would state with the number Tom Scott, right? Tom Scott. And man, I nerdy ass, subject matters most of the time, and very, very geeky kind of stuff, but it's just very well presented. Does it well. And it just made me think of like, man, maybe this is the kind of stuff I need to be doing, where I'm like, the deck reviews to a degree are a facade, right? Because if you take away the deck review, the deck sometimes is just the catalyst for a topic for me, right? Like with many of the decks that I've done, like for instance, the wind up deck where I'm talking about nostalgia, right? To me, the deck is a vehicle for the topic that I want to talk about. Just like the 80s decks were a vehicle for the topic of the video that I wanted to make. I wanted to make an 80s video, right? Or, in previous times, the way that I've wanted to make an interview video where I interviewed, Dan Buck or Assad, when really wanted to make a mini documentary about these guys rather than go into the decks themselves.
That's a video you still have,
So
right? The interview. Sorry,
What's
no, I
that?
didn't want to interrupt you, but the Dan Buck one, that's one that you put out, but then there was another one that you're still on. There are two videos, I think, that you mentioned about that, right?
Dave Buck. I forget which one I met first. It was Dan. Dan was the one I met first, and then I met Dave. That's the one I'm still sitting on because Dave. It's interesting. Dave kind of stepped away a little bit from the world of cardistry, and cards. And I think he's really, you know, obviously they still own Art of Play. They still make their money, you know, related to Magic and cards and all that stuff. But he's really kind of taken a step back. So when I interviewed him, he felt like almost like he didn't really have a lot to say or a lot to chime in on. So it was tough to feel like I had the material that I needed. And it was right before two things. It was right before Cardistry Con. So we talked a lot about Cardistry Con, and I didn't get the video out in time for Cardistry Con. So a lot of that stuff had to get scrapped. And secondarily, my wife, we had gone out to LA, which is where I interviewed him, and shot a collaboration video with Jenny Lorenzo for her channel.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was really focused. I was really focused on getting that done and helping her finish that video because I felt like it could be a big boost for her channel. And it was, effectively. That one video has 35,000 views, which is 10,000 views more than any video I've ever put out on my channel, despite the fact that I have 10,000 subscribers and she only has 2,000.
I love Jerry.
So, you know.
Yeah. What I was going to mention too, funny enough, you have more patience than I do when it comes to that, because I would have probably ended up jumping off the nearest balcony talking to somebody about fucking Cardistry Con and playing cards for that long. And somebody like Dan and Dave Buck, that they don't necessarily exude, you know, such a, I would say, outgoing.
Yeah, they're soft-spoken guys.
Yeah.
Not the most charismatic.
Okay.
I guess a good way of saying, but you know, they're cool guys. They're super nice guys. They're very accommodating and pleasant people. But you know, they're not as charismatic. Even like a guy like Assad who's subdued is more charismatic and on camera could you know. Kind of run with it a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a battle I would love to see. That's like a fight I would love to see. First of all, put both Bucks against each other in an actual fight, or put like somebody like Assad, who's like a, you know, soft-spoken Arabic against.
Yeah, Assad. But you know what, Assad. Interestingly enough, Assad. I didn't have to work so hard on the edit for that video because the bites were good. Like he gave me good material. Like I asked him a question and he'd answered it in a concise, simple way, you know what I'm saying? Like he gave like a beginning, middle, and end. Like, okay, I felt this way because of this and this and this, and then this, and then it was like, all right, perfect, awesome, great, let's move on. With some of the other interviews I've done, it's been a little bit more challenging to kind of again, to use the word Frankenstein together a bunch.
I was gonna say, and also you have to deal with the fact that you're hearing constant the spring sounds. Because I don't know, my biggest pet peeve when it comes to these interviews that I typically see of like card related people is that they're like this. I mean, they're essentially, they're in, you know, you're talking to them, asking them questions, and they're doing this thing. Like, no, I've liked cards for a long time. I was young, and they're here doing friffles and stuff, and I'm like, could you fucking put them down, please? Could you put the cards down?
No, I think my female viewership is just. It might even be less than 3%.
I doubt it. Oh, man.
Well, that's what my analytics say.
Well, that's maybe a lie, man. You're looking at your videos.
I think the subject matter is what dictates the demographics more than anything. I think the playing cards thing is what dictates the demographics, and also the 30 pounds of additional weight that I put on might not. No,
it's more a cushion, more cushion for the pushing. But what I like about your channel too is that it almost seems like you took the marbles out of your mouth. You know, you presented a different way of doing things that has been the standard when it comes to
what I did was I applied an extremely complicated formula to something that had been done very simply.
Usually a webcam.
It's kind of dumb, right? Because people were like, it's like, why? It's like the guy who makes it's like Peter McKinnon making the coffee, grinding the fucking beans, and putting the thing, and then the hot water spill into the
The same
decanter and all that
shot.
shit. And people are like, dude, just use a fucking Nespresso
Yeah.
pot. And everybody else drinks coffee out of an Nespresso pot and it tastes fine.
He's here doing
It's
doing
like,
these.
so to a degree, it's kind of like the same.
Uh-huh.
It's like the same process.
Yeah, and you took the marbles out of your mouth.
Complicating something really simple.
You took the I don't think anybody will get that reference, but yeah, you're 100% right. But I think that was kind of in a way, I think your channel inspired a lot of the other bigger channels, because after you started with that, that's when I kind of saw a little bit more towards similar styles and more of that cinematic push. I don't want to say like, oh yeah, it's all you, but when it came to things like deck reviews, I didn't see somebody else attempt a cinematic sort of style when it came to deck reviews until you came along. So right. I think that
there's some people who have actively seeked me out to tell me that, which I think is that's a beautiful thing to hear, and I'm very gracious and thankful of their appreciation. Like the guys like Kier Gomes, who I really respect as as a up and coming YouTuber and somebody who has a lot of passion for it. He's told me, he said, that I was a direct influence on a lot of what he was doing. But I think a lot of it is also just congruence. Like there's times when, you watch enough YouTube, you start to see, Peter McKinnon and Chris Ramsey and all these other guys, Daniel Schiffer make art now, all these guys who are making like cinematic style things, and it's hard not to be influenced by that stuff in some degree. Now, I don't think my videos look like any of those guys' videos, in fact, but it's the inclusion of those cinematic kind of things that maybe you could say that you could draw a parallel to.
It says here, Pandrea, those weird makes no sense knock videos. That's what Dankilo said. That's kind of odd. But yeah, Pandrea, I think, was one. I dare I say Ramsey, even a couple of his shots, I think were a little bit inspired, just in the sense of your stuff.
I don't think Ramsey's ever even watched my channel.
You don't think? I think that there's you have a little bit more of an influence on that than you kind of take.
I tell you, I reached out to him several times and he's ignored me every single time.
I'm so
he
jealous.
reaches out to us all the time. We give him, we do consulting for Chris Ramsey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's your bit?
Yeah. So,
I was gonna say that I'm kind of jealous that you haven't reached out to me. We had some questions on Instagram. I don't know if you know this or you did because you reposted it. Funny enough, a teacher friend of mine just put a little fire emoji in response to the story. But we do have some Instagram questions. I don't know if you would like to answer them. Okay.
Hold on. Somebody mentioned some of the cinematic deck reviews. I remember when Pancake reviewed the Inspire deck.
Yeah.
What was that?
I
don't know what that.
That's the Pandrea deck, the little bicycle spoke one that he had that was marked, and
Okay.
I did a review, but then I was like doing these shots.
You know who did do like a parody of my reviews was Jasper.
Yeah,
and that was funny. The Jasper's video.
He put. I remember we were talking about that. He put negative effort into trying any sort of like parody of me. It's like I'm just going to have the background, and then that's it.
No, he did like the camera moves and like the B-roll and stuff. He tried to. I would say he tried to put a little bit of the TGW style.
You have one video that I'm kind of upset that you haven't worked on yet, which is the Peter McKinnon stuff.
Right, the Peter
McCubbin. Yeah, I don't want to say the name. Yeah, I don't want to say the name because I thought you were holding that in. But
yeah, it's tricky, man. It's the thing about Peter McKinnon is, originally when I was gonna do it, Peter McKinnon had fallen into like a little bit of a rhythm. I don't want to say he was repeating himself a lot, but he had fallen into a rhythm, and all his videos had a very similar rhythm, and all his videos had a very similar feel. And I felt at the time it would be really easy to parody what he was doing, and I was gonna use, again, because I wanted to make a Peter McKinnon parody video. I found a deck that opened that avenue for me, right? Which was his LTD deck. I was going to review the LTD deck, simple deck, nothing really to review there. It's just it's a deck, okay? It's printed by the USPCC. There you have it. That's the review.
Nice.
But it was going to give me an opportunity to do something more creative, and I wanted to do it, and I even bought like costume, some costume items that I was gonna wear as Peter
Yeah.
McKinnon, or as Peter McCuban, which is what I was gonna
Killed
call
me.
it,
Killed me.
because I didn't want to do like a straight McKinnon parody, because I can't sound Canadian. About
Woot.
I can't do
Watch
it.
any video on camera reviews, and they're going to be doing a unintentional Peter McKinnon impression. It's the cringiest shit.
Oh, what's up, everybody? That
Yeah.
shit is just like it's like, oh god, that was one of the things that I really was intent on doing, and something that I think you do very well, which is that you have your own style, and the way you approach your videos is different than anybody else, and that's something that I always wanted too. Like I didn't want it the hey guys, thanks for watching, subscribe. Like I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, no, I hate that.
So have a very, like, in a way, kind of a different yo, exactly, yo, like have a very different feel. In a way, sometimes it can be off-putting, because I think people get so used to hearing the yo, what up guys, it's your boy, that when they see something that's not that, they're like, oh shit, I don't want to watch this, and they click off.
Yeah, that might be it's again, and not to kill the phrase, but a double-edged sword. So it's like, but it just kills me every time I see that sort of stuff. It kills me. It might just be the overwhelming fake positivity that's like, the smile when you smile.
Yeah, but you say that somebody in your chat called me too serious like 30 minutes ago.
I didn't see that. But the funny part is you do. I thought I was negative, all right, and I haven't met somebody that could turn any positive situation into like a. But you got to look at it. I remember your when it came to the deck, which is funny. The first question here, by the way, from Instagram, is a troll question that I'm only gonna say to you because I know that it's gonna bother you. So I'm having you prepare ahead of time. But even with your deck, for example, the parlors, well, granted, yeah, there is a lot of back end stuff that people don't tend to realize when it comes to having something on Kickstarter, but it still reached a great point. It still had ultimate success, and you're like, yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know. You turn into that character that you're always making fun of. Eugene? No, what's the name?
Eugene? Oh, yeah, Eugene. Yeah. The character that I created.
Yeah, just the context. You have like a exaggerated character that's negative about everything, and he's like a nerd.
Yeah, not just that he was negative about everything, is that he was married to like an extremely domineering woman named Dolores.
Named what?
So everything that he did he had to frame it with, like, not even kid gloves. Like, talk about walking on eggshells. This guy had to like crawl on like shards of glass every time he talked to his wife. That's this that I created.
Can I start again? I'm sorry, baby. Okay, this question, just to kind of shoot it here. This is from it says Brian Ballard. It says, "Where have you been living the lavish style with that parlor money?"
What?
It says, "Where have you been living that lavish life with that parlor money?"
Right.
JK, seriously though.
Yeah. The easy question for that is burnout. There's a little bit of burnout that happened. People look at the parlor as the culmination of something, when really the work was happening way before the parlor, right? Like, I took a trip out to the West Coast and interviewed Pandrea, Buck, and Assad, and shot all the content that I needed. Met Andre Jake out there and shot all the content that I needed for the parlor trailer. Okay, so the parlor trailer, which is probably, I don't know, 2 weeks prior to the launch of the deck, went on that trip, came back with a fucking fever. I right now I would have had coronavirus. Let's just put it that way, because I came back with 104.
They would have put the laser on your forehead.
Whatever flu I had was really, really bad. I slept for like 2 days. Then, and not only came back having done that, then not only that, but had to put in like 20, 30 hours of editing into each one of those videos to make sure that all of those videos would come out before the parlor campaign either began or ended, right? In some cases before it started. In some cases I wanted a video to come out on the day prior to ending so that I could generate more traffic to get. the amount of work and dedication that it took, marketing. And look, man, I don't want to take credit for anything that doesn't pertain to what I've done. Okay, I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. Lorenzo Gagiotti has a following, a deep following of fans. There's no doubt that a great part of the success of the parlor is due to his following and his clout, so to speak. But he's never had a deck review a deck project go beyond like 300% funding, and our project was 1,000% funding. And I think it was 1,000% funding because of the tremendous amount of really tiring work that we put into getting it done. So what happens? That video goes up. All those videos go up. The parlor campaign happens. It's a tremendous success beyond our wildest imagination. I mean, we were all floored and extremely grateful and satisfied by how well
it's the product I spent the most money on. I think the parlor deck and the Jerry's Nuggets is the one I dropped the most money on.
Right. And thank you for that, Daniel. Thank you. But the reality is that all of that took its toll, man. All of that took its toll. It was all of that, and then right after all of that, it was, keep deck reviews going and keep everything going and see the process through, and make sure that everyone's getting paid and all the things are happening, and it coincided. It just so happens to coincide with a tremendous amount of work in my IRL job, let's call it, right? Where I was getting a tremendous amount of work there, and I was exhausted doing. And mind you, the work that I do is the same work as the channel, right? It's just for a client or for television or for broadcast, which is creating content, shooting, creating, editing, producing, writing content. So when you shoot, write, produce, edit, create for a living, day to day, 10 hours a day, the last thing you want to do when you get home or when you finally stop doing those things is work, produce, create, edit, write. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to do those things anymore. So there was a burnout for me. There was like a legitimate, where I hit like a cap, where I couldn't keep going. I couldn't feel like I could keep going with the same kind of energy that I had. Now, compound that by the fact that I was working a lot more, and obviously you gotta take the jobs when they come. So that took a lot of time away from working on videos, and so you get the combination of burnout, more work in real life, and stress, and now a pandemic, and stress of a pandemic, and your videos are gonna fall off. So there's no excuse. That's not an excuse. It's a reason. Those are the reasons why I started producing less content. But in my defense, I do want to say that the last 3 or 4 videos that I put out have all been longer than 20 minutes.
They've been
27 minutes, 25 minutes. One was 17 minutes. And I mean, I was making 5 videos a month, but they were 4 minutes long. I can go back to doing that because it takes the same amount of time to do 5 minutes of 5-minute videos, and it doesn't do one 25-minute video.
I just want to see more of you.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I hope you do. Somebody says shoe size, European if possible.
I don't know, 11 and a half regular size. I don't know what European.
We're in America.
11 and a half. Wow, makes me slightly more attracted to you. Especially for my meager, what do I have, 8.5 size shoes? I have to go to kids section, man.
I mean, I'm 6 feet tall.
Oh yeah, I know that. There's another one here. It says, how many decks did you buy before Mrs. Wake stopped sleeping with you?
Thankfully, that has not happened.
Okay. Yeah, thankfully and unfortunately. That's my.
Thankfully, that's not happened. But I will tell you that I probably bought 300 decks in the very beginning, where I actually wish I hadn't bought them, because I bought them thinking, oh man, I'm gonna review all of these. These are all great decks. These are all fantastic decks, and you just don't have the time. And not only do you just not have the time, but all the time, or I see new decks that come out, and you don't use some deck that came out 5 years ago. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody cares. So it's funny because now I wish I hadn't bought all those. I mean, they're still there. They're still, in the cellophane. So it's not like
I'll take them if you
on
want.
eBay. It's just a problem of no. I would sell them.
Yeah, he doesn't need more cards. This guy was, we're talking about taxes and stuff, and this guy's like, I was telling him because, I mean, the amount of, before the quarantine, your boy was out here buying a lot of booze, so we're talking, and then he tells me how much expenses he had in terms of playing cards, and it's what, double, more than double?
Yeah.
Don't say a number.
I mean, it was up there, bro.
Yeah. So yeah, you quite have an addict, but yeah,
I think that's why my cousin hasn't called me back. He's like, really? Again with this shit?
But yeah, Omar, as far as that, I do imagine that it does take a toll, especially when it's the same and similar content each and every single time. Because what else can you really say apart from what it looks like? You know,
it's like I told you. It's like there's only so many things that you can say about a deck of playing cards. To a degree, right? There's some decks that I've reviewed that I've really enjoyed the process of reviewing. Like I did a deck review for the poker deck of the Drowning World. I don't know if you got a chance to see that one.
I don't think so.
It was like it was a Kickstarter campaign. It was some time ago, but I did like this really intricate kind of deconstruction of what the deck was, and it was a unique deck. It didn't look like a playing cards deck that you and I would recognize as a traditional playing cards deck. So those kind of decks are always fun. This 80s deck review was fun, and the top 10s are fun because, I get a chance to kind of make a list. But maybe, honestly, the top 10s are the ones that do the best. And I've said this to you before. Maybe what I need to do is just shift towards top 10s, like top 10 Theory 11 decks, top 10 bicycle decks, top 10, decks for cardistry, or whatever. Maybe that's the direction the channel should take rather than doing individual deck reviews of like the Paper Kings deck. Like, okay, people, 1,000 people watched it because they may be interested in that deck, but ultimately.
Well, I don't know. I think that as far as that, you should really just do, as much as I hate to sound like a cliche, but do what you enjoy. And if you're having a little bit of burnout doing, when it comes to playing cards or doing that, not to say to eliminate that completely, but, try to have and show a little bit more of you, past the cards. And I think that you're going to find a lot of success with that. At least that's what I would love to see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and to a degree, some of that happens on my wife's channel, like the fulfillment of some of that desire, of some of that, complying with my wants or whatever, whatever makes me happy happens on that channel because, we collaborate and we do things that are interesting and it stretches my creative muscle, so to speak. A lot of the reason why that happens is because every video she makes is a different video, right? Like, it's not the same video. We're not regurgitating the same thing.
Like a content farm?
Yeah, like from a content perspective, like the playing card reviews, I get people like to see, Magic Orthodoxy's made a career, right, on YouTube, and his videos are in essence the dossier of playing cards, right? Like every video is a dossier on that deck. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but the reality is that he's he has his formula. It's discreet, it's succinct. He gets in and out. He gives the information that he needs to give. I'm sure that as far as effort is concerned, he's figured out a way to do it effectively and efficiently.
It's like me with the ladies.
Without burning. And also, the fact that he does Magic reviews as well, and most definitely does a lot of that. But I think he keeps the same kind of, the questions are the same, like the who, what, when, where, what, how, whatever it is. Who, what, when, where, how. The like the 5 things or whatever it is that he asks.
Well, that's what attracted me to his channel too. Was whenever I have an interest for these things, he has a very formulaic way of doing it. But it's not. I don't say formulaic as a bad thing. I say it as those are the things that I would want to look for. When it comes to that. But yeah, I could imagine that it does get a little bit taxing, just because there's.
Yeah, but the idea of like you've seen my setup, right? When you've come over, you've made fun of me, right? Like, I mean, like in good nature, I get it. But like you make fun of me for like how I shoot my deck reviews. There's like an overhead fucking,
lint roller. You got a lint roller.
Lint roller.
Overhead camera rig. There's a camera on a slider. There's lights that are like, soft boxed and different color backgrounds and the lint roller that I used to clean them, all that stuff.
Yeah, you have a full-time audio guy there. That was weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I have like audio rig. That gets really, really tiring when you're doing the same thing every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So to find the motivation to pull out all that gear, it's everything I can do. Maybe people would watch it. This is the part that I struggle with, is maybe people would watch my channel if all I did was sit in front of the camera, like, some people that shall remain nameless, and literally not change the angle one time and just open the box and talk about it with a,
marbles in your mouth. Yeah, you're right. Just your mouth sounds like you have an entire set of children's marbles inside. Will the gentleman wake do the promo video for the TMP? Oh, that's my deck. For a second, I'm like, TMP deck? What the fuck is that? That's my deck. Also, will Jeanette review them? So it says, will gentleman wake do the promo video for the TMP deck? Also, will Jeanette review them? I think that's a question. Janet. Yeah, sorry, I said Jeanette.
Yeah, Janet has yet to make her TGW debut.
Yeah.
I think it's about time that we figure out a way to get Janet on the channel.
She comes in and she's.
What about my boy Jerry? I love Janet, but I love my boy Jerry. I feel like
Jerry. I've already shot a bit for Jerry that I think people are going to enjoy.
Oh, yes.
It's part of another thing that I haven't had the energy to figure out yet, because it's going to take me a while to figure out, and I think Pig Kick, you know why. It's going to take a little while to figure out how to make that work so that Jerry bit works.
Yeah.
But the Jerry bit's going to work. I mean, the Jerry bit is fucking perfect because it's perfect for that.
Hey, Omar, quick question, bro. Any chance we could speak to Jerry's agent to get him on the show one of these days?
Yeah, I'll put in a good word. Let's see. I'll put in a good word to see.
We'll pick up some bitches with Jerry.
Jerry would definitely get me laid. I feel like Jerry would, like, we go to whatever club and Jerry's like, hey, yo, you gotta get this guy. He does card tricks. He's short, but he does some great card tricks, man.
I feel bad because every time that I see Omar, I always tell how much I love Jerry, and his wife is like, yo, Liza, I love Jerry, bro. I love Jerry, bro. Like, I wish Jerry was a real person, bro.
Jerry is a real person.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I feel like there's only 21 people watching right now, but I feel like all 21 of those people have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
can't
Who the hell, Jerry?
Yeah, Jerry, your character has your wife has an amalgam of characters, and that she plays. And the other day on Instagram, it was funny enough, you did that shot where you were talking to Jerry. Jerry's one of them. Jerry's like the I would say like the fuckboy character that she does. And you had this video where it was panning from you were in the kitchen, and it pans.
Oh yeah.
And it's Jerry talking about another one of your wife's characters. I don't know if it was Gato. Sarah. Yeah, I said Gato because Gato's my favorite one, just because of the fact that Gato for me is a way of describing someone. A Gato is like you take pictures at space, without shoes on. That's a Gato to me, So I've called a girl a Gato to her face outside of space, and she had no idea.
That's why we named that character that. So.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, are you showing this? Okay, so he's showing. I don't know which character this is, but it's Jerry.
This is Jerry with.
That's Sarah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, what's crazy though is your wife's playing all these characters, and they each have their own personalities, which drives me.
I fucking love this guy. Sorry, I'm back. I'm sorry.
It drives me fucking crazy that they all have like lineages and they all have backstories, and it kills me every time I see it. But Jeanette, do a review for them. I would love Jeanette to do a deck review.
The best video, the Jerry video that I really thought was really good was the video game one. Did you guys see that one?
I saw. Where Jerry with the fucking headset.
Yeah.
Jerry where he's playing the video game
Mm-hmm.
with the kid. I mean, that was like a ton of fun to do.
I also love. I'm actually a big fan of the videos on your wife's channel with the bloopers. When you guys do those bloopers and when you laugh, Omar, your laugh kills me, bro.
So hot.
Because it's so good.
Okay. I thought it was hot. But yeah, no, I love those. I love those specifically. Have you ever... Oh, Jesus, fuck. Okay. That's... Have you ever coitus with her while she had facial hair? That's another...
facial hair. Say that.
I was gonna say that's
I have yet to scratch.
I would be very tempted if my significant other was very very talented when it came to.
You think you know everything, huh, Mr. Wake? Great. That's the fucking impression I'm giving off. The know-it-all.
Is that no? I find it very attractive about you. But I was gonna say if I had a significant other that was so good at other characters, I would be very hard pressed not to be like, hey yo, hey, could you today do that thing where you pretend to be that other person today? I do that all the time. Like I wouldn't want to be with them. I want to be with their characters. Like, hey, could you be Gato today? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, I think what's funny is that I'll catch Liza, like slipping into those characters just in natural day to day. Like she doesn't notice that she does it. Like she'll say something like Jerry, or she'll say something like Janet, or she'll say something like, and it's like legit slips out. It's not even like something she's conscious of. And I call her out on it. She's like, "Hey, stop it."
I'd fucking worry about that.
Funny.
What if one takes over? It's like Split. It's like that movie.
I'm not piggy with my diggy.
Just like the way, like the Jerry. I don't know how she does it, by the way. Jerry always like floors me because, and it makes, that's the one that really makes me laugh because I don't recognize her.
Yeah.
When she's playing that character, I do not recognize her. Like I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Like it, though her mannerisms, the way she speaks, it's like a dude. Like.
Yeah, because it's every fuckboy you've ever known in your life, and you're like, why? I'm married to this person. How?
It's phenomenal how she's capable of doing it. You know, so I don't know. It's crazy. Like she does it with several characters, but that one in particular. She becomes that character. It's like, wow, I don't even recognize. And Janet too, to a degree. Like the Janet voice is so different than hers. That when she's doing it and she's in costume, it's like I feel like I'm cheating on my wife.
Kills
like,
me.
like somehow, you know.
It kills me. The one she's like, who's that tall glass of water? And she's looking at the other one. I'm like, it's all you. It's like fucking Eddie Murphy. This is like Eddie Murphy. But
fun to do because it's like a moving tracking shot where we shot in multiple passes and then stitched it together so that's her. I'm the only other person in that shot and it's 4 other versions of her.
Yeah, it's seamless though. I saw that shit. I lost my mind the other day. But what I do like is just a dedication to each individual character and how each of them seem to have like their own genuine backstory. When she did the who would you rather be in a quarantine with? I think she posted that the other day. I'm like, wow, they all literally have their own stories.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's happened over the course of the 2 years that we've been making videos though. Like, you know, where we'll make a video and we'll create a you create the backstory as you kind of go along. Like that video that Danny just put up there momentarily, briefly a little while ago, that was the first meeting of Sarah and Jerry, right? But now Sarah and Jerry are a couple and they're a thing, right? So they've been kind of they've been in a relationship for like a year. And what's funny is like it's, you know, you had these two characters where one, like Sarah started off as this like caricature of like the nerdy association president, kind of, you know, white girl, you know, basic white bitch, basic bitch, and the douchey, you know, Tiger King fucking wannabe, fuckboy. But as the kind of the relationship has evolved and the characters have evolved, like now we know that Jerry's actually Latino. His last name is Gerardo Miguel Fernandez, which calls him Gerardo Miguel Fernandez.
That's fucking tremendous. You know what's gonna be great if she gets trapped in one of these characters and she can't snap out of it because she forgets that she's an individual. That would be
you're describing a nightmare scenario.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. Who am I? It's Jerry. We have another one here. What is your favorite deck at the moment? This might be the most virgin-y question I think we've gotten here, but what is your favorite deck at the moment?
I don't know, man. I mean, people ask me that. Like, at this point, like, my favorite deck is the Parlor deck. But, so it's like, it's kind of hard not to say the Parlor deck is my favorite deck. What is that?
This?
That is not the partner deck.
Oh, this is my new deck. This is the first time I'm showing my deck in its entirety. I just wanted to show my obsession with Hannah Montana.
So let's talk about this real quick. You waited so long to get your deck out that now there's a global pandemic and a recession, and you can't put it out.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was obvious. What? It's confusion here. That's exactly it. Now, this is the parlor deck right here.
I've been talking to you about that deck for like 2 years, and you still haven't put it out.
Listen, man, I've been talking to Daniel for the past 2 weeks about my V-Star 650 engine and how it hasn't showed up at the shop yet. But you know what? I avoid that conversation each and every time, single time, because I don't want to have to explain myself. Okay, Omar? All right? I do that with everyone. It's not just you. That's why we wouldn't work out as a couple. But this is your favorite deck right here. I feel like, what's that movie with Jim Carrey? Where Truman Show, where it's like, my favorite deck is the parlor deck because of its fuck. You don't have like a description here.
It's black. It's shiny.
Yeah, but I wanted to have like a whole description. Like, this is the #1 deck for playing collectors, card enthusiasts, and then go through the whole script. I want to do that, but I can't do that with this. But yeah, that's another common question that I get too. Like, what's your favorite deck? What card trick do you do? Like, what's your favorite card trick?
It's funny because when you're in that mode, and what I was learning when I was watching, like, really towards the beginning of the Gentleman Wake channel, when I was still getting good at, or getting better at cardistry, because I wanted to be able to shoot cooler footage, right? And I was practicing that stuff. You get really into that mode of like, you're practicing, you're watching, you're looking at it. But it's like, I haven't done that. I haven't picked up a deck of cards to practice any of that stuff in a year.
All you need really are 3 moves. Just a fan, this shit, whatever this is, under pressure, right?
Yeah.
And then what's the other one? And a spring.
Well, my moves are the spring, obviously the spring, because I shoot that high crank. Frame rate, beautiful. All the cards kind of flowing through the air.
20 years.
The fan, the spring, the Sybil cut, which everybody loves the Sybil cut because it's like, it looks like you're doing packet cuts.
Nobody loves the Sybil cut, but okay.
And and what was the other one? And the Cascade, not the Cascade, the Water Bend or whatever, the Cascade. I don't know which one. Whatever it is, the Waterfall, whatever it is. The Friffle into the Cascade. I think it's the Cascade.
Yeah, it's like a sex move.
Yeah, basically that's it. I do those 4 moves. Every once in a while I'll do another one because I remember to do it. What's the one called where you do like a fan with the
riffle fan.
The riffle fan?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
When that fans itself?
Yeah,
that one.
I was gonna say, until you said riffle fan, you described my sex, how I sex people. But so okay, obviously what just happened here? Omar's gone. Is this some sort of no, he's there. But I was gonna say this is some sort of like this feels like one of those found footage movies that I keep watching, that I've gotten used to watching recently about that. But what I love though is when somebody typically asks like, hey man, what's your favorite deck of cards? What's your favorite deck of cards? What card trick do you like? Are you a fan of... No, dude, it changes. All right, It fucking changes every single day. Like every time I discover something. Quick point here. Why he apparently went to, I don't know, take a piss real quick. Somebody sent these out, by the way. This is why I was holding this, because we went to the P.O. box, Omar, and somebody sent these. Are you?
Oh yeah. It's got some music in here.
Okay. You're doing the cardist interview now. Where we, yeah, there you go. That's the sound that I love. Every fucking interview. So it says here, out of everyone to collab with, why Pig Cake?
I ask myself that every day.
I'm glad from that first meeting that we had. But that was quite an interesting video because it was my first introduction into like any sort of production. Yeah, because it's like we went to what do you call this? We went to Publix.
I made you shoot it twice. Remember, I made you shoot it twice because the first time.
Yeah, I just remember that we went to CVS to shoot it outside, and he's like, I didn't like the sound.
I made us go back and redo it again.
Mm-hmm.
It was much better the second time.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. Okay, are we really all fucking?
Oh no! Oh, we're not doing this anymore.
No, we're not fucking doing
Alright,
this.
I'll stop.
Jesus. There's like already 2 people that I got to deal with fucking riffling cards. But yeah, I remember that we shot it twice, and then the second day in Publix, it was awkward because you had me sit on outside saying "Will Magic for food."
Yeah.
And you went around in your car, and there wasn't any sort of equipment there, so it just literally looked like I was begging outside of
It would have
Publix.
been great if someone gave me money or asked you to do like a magic trick.
I was so scared of like having like a student come up to me and be like, dude, you know, it's okay, man. Like, things are gonna get better, and I'm just here like, hey, man, that shit was bad. But I remember that one specifically. That was a fun one. I definitely want to do.
I thought that was a fun video too, and you would say like that was like a pretty long little thing. Like that was like a 4-minute bit, like in the deck review before we even got to the cards. You know?
Yeah. Which I appreciated that. I appreciated there was a. I expected better quality from the gentleman away.
No, hey Brian, the real reason is they can't handle the stream. They can't handle the high quality.
I was internet for everything and everything, right?
No, it doesn't matter.
I was ready to put 16K quality video, okay?
Yeah.
But they can't handle.
We already tested it before, and unfortunately, his what's the camera, the Red X that you had that you use as your web camera.
It's getting good, bro. Shit.
But now that unfortunately I've shown my face to the world, I think we could definitely do something that's not a.
Oh, now we can actually do like an interview video, like a proper you style video where you know I ask you questions and make you feel uncomfortable.
Ooh.
Yeah, but as Pig Cake's CEO,
Jesus.
I need to make sure that the questions are predetermined, pre-selected.
Hey, or something right now, because I swear to God, I hear like some noise in the background.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could you fucking think about what you're gonna say before you actually say it? Because these guys like, as Big Cake CEO, you got.
You piece of shit.
I'm like, dude. Let's see. How much whiskey does it take to get Pig Cake to loosen up, if you know what I mean? Well, what I love though is you've given me shit because you kind of got me hammered in your house with only 2 fingers of whiskey. That was your quote that I've taken and I've used in my like.
I'm pretty sure I got you hammered with just 2 fingers.
I fucking wish. Oh my goodness. I would be so happy if you could fucking get me any sort of anything with 2 fingers. But you gave me 2 fingers of whiskey in the equivalent of like a 8-liter gallon of water of whiskey. I don't know what cups you have in your house, but it's like a bowl. And you gave me 2 fingers of whiskey, and you got me kind of hammered. But what's interesting is you with a little bit of drinks in you, because you loosen up in your debates. You loosen up in your the topics that we conversate about. So that's a video that I want to do. I want to get you on 2 fingers of whiskey and just surreptitiously drop like Donald Trump, like Mike Pence.
Right? You won't put nothing in it?
I won't put anything in it, but hopefully I'll put something in.
You saw that in the 80s video, right? The Charles character.
Yeah,
that shit was hilarious.
yeah. I love. I really love the you got the mullet dude.
Yeah, no, oh yeah, the Moose Dugan.
Yeah, and then your wife with the fucking bald cap, and you see the difference in skin color. That killed me. I'm like, this is, and you did that. You used that video that I used to use that video as like as a transition. The one that you had in your introduction of the dating video. You know what I'm talking about? The guy's like, I'm if you're a smoker, you might as well.
That video is fucking hilarious.
It's so
that
good.
was racist for it.
Is it real? Is that like a real dating video?
Yeah, that's.
Oh my goodness, man! I thought it was like a meme because they also have one called the Sex Offender Shuffle. For years, people thought this was real, and it's a video of like, you know, oh, we're here because we're required to do some sort of public safety announcement, but it was like fake. It was like a fake video. So I wonder if that one was also like a parody or something.
I bet you this one was real, man. There's some authenticity in that video that you can't. In fact, I know for a fact it's real because Ellen DeGeneres had 3 guys who were in that video. She found the 3 guys and had them come on the show, and they're like all fucking 7.
Out of shape, old.
That's disappointing. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna.
including the guy who said, "If you're a smoker,
That's the
you
guy.
need to
Oh,
fast forward." That guy was one.
that's my favorite guy. This guy's like, oh,
And I think that not age well. One guy walked out there and he was wearing like the wide bottom, like, you know, what's the name of the what's the name of the guy? The Guy Harvey style.
Guy
clothing.
Harvey.
Like a Western shirt. Like it's like the year 2020. He comes out in like a Western shirt with bootcut
Oh,
jeans.
fuck. Okay. Yeah, I kind of know what you're talking about. I remember. By the way, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
What was the name of the guy who made the caps? Like they were like graffiti caps.
What is? You're dating yourself here.
It's like
Was
a
it
90s
okay?
thing. 90s, early
Okay.
2000s.
No, I have no idea what you're referring to.
I can't remember. I can't
Jesus, I can't believe she got that guy. I can't believe she got that guy on that, because I remember that video from years ago where he's like, "If you're a smoker, just keep fast forwarding because I'm not a smoker and I don't like." Dude, you really can't, in your position, be picky. You know, you can't be picky about your ticky.
MVP.
I would love to do it. I remember telling you my idea for doing hot chips with you and your wife, which I still want to shoot, and I think it's going to be a lot easier without this as a hindrance. But I mean, that video would have been.
Go on record and tell everybody who it was who told you that you need to fucking show your face.
Literally everybody that I did. I mean, that has had some sort of contact with my YouTube channel is like, dude, why don't you show your face? No, it's just like an artistic choice. I just, I don't need to. It was a terrible choice. And you know what? I've learned from it and I've grown from it. All right. And thanks to our remake of not so popular indie rock music video, I think that people now have, the visage. They're blessed to see the visage of this face here.
I wish I could zoom in.
No, you can't do that with this production value. I don't know if there's the what?
Already? If people gotten used to you already, do you still get like that's what you look like?
And Magi Fest, funny enough, this is how I found out that people really don't watch my shit, which is people were coming up to me like in secret and they're like, dude, you're pig cake? I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh man, you're showing your face. Like, do people know it's you? I'm like, I've been showing it for fucking 3 months. All right? You shuffling cards. What are you doing watching my channel? Like, you're not watching my channel, you small bitch. So I got upset. At people for not following my channel. Realized that by then I had already shown my face for like 2 months. Yeah. So that's the part that upsets me.
So were there any more IGD questions?
Yeah, hold up. So Lavish Money, Gentleman Awake, New Virgin, Favorite Deck. Jeanette, review them. Jeanette, I would definitely love Jeanette to do a review. Janet,
don't get it twisted.
Janet, I want Caro to do a review of the playing cards. I think it would be like 30 seconds. She's like, what's this? Yeah, it's like a hookah. Like, is this a vape? Like, I imagine that she would probably be really funny. This one says, rate pig cake on a scale of 1 to 10 from attractiveness. Now let me not let you answer that real quick for a moment here, because when I first met you, right, I looked at your Instagram, obviously, because I'm like, yo, who is this guy? And I saw you have Gentleman Awake, and you also had your own personal Instagram, and that you were essentially a connoisseur of fashionable clothing, and that you were a proprietor of this sort of style. Yeah, so it's unfair for you to rate me, because you come in from such a high standard, and I come in from a trash standard. So it's the equivalent. I don't know if you're aware of the Jada Cole's rating system. Okay, it's the same.
Yeah, I would say you are a Jada Cole's 15.
That's good. Let me tell you, I've seen some Jada Cole's. Today I was having an argument with fucking Daniel, who's the most stubborn motherfucker I've ever met in my entire life. We're having an argument because we're at the post office, okay? And we saw a fairly attractive woman, and he goes, dude, that's like a Jada Cole's 10. And I got upset because this wasn't a Jada Cole's 10. This was a Jada Cole's 25. Because this person in the post office may be a 7, maybe a 6. In Jada Cole's, you would drop down on one knee and propose to this woman because she looks better than the sea of women that look like they just doused their bodies in meat and potatoes. So you got me upset. He's like, no, man,
Right.
no, look, you can't. That's not an act. I'm like, that's the system, Daniel.
You know what's my favorite part about this whole thing?
What?
They letting people into our world of the dumb shit that we argue about.
Well, it's the point because I brought it here about the Jada Cole's rating system. And as a matter of fact, I think Jada Cole's not closed. I think they closed down permanently, unfortunately.
That's a sad story, bro.
Well, they probably had to.
Yeah. I'm upset. I'm upset. I'm never going to have
Jada's, bro.
a fat girl touch my dick under the table ever again. I'm upset at this point.
There will be other.
Nah, but it's not the same. It's not the same as that seedy crap, garbage environment when you walk in and
Karaoke,
you're like,
singing.
Just go to that place, the Orange Bowl.
Okay, now I wanted to ask you this because obviously we're talking a lot about magic and cards here, but you yourself are an individual beyond that, and you were an individual before the gentleman wake sort of aspect of your life came in, and you've told me some stories about yourself. But now, so you mentioned that Orange Bowl place next to it's a bar called Bull Bar. Okay,
right,
I was telling Daniel about this place the other day, and he wanted to go to this place.
No,
thank you.
Go.
Oh, yeah, why not, bro?
Okay, so just some context here. Bull Bar is a bar right next to Marlins Stadium, and this bar is pretty much a brothel.
Yeah, it's like a brothel, a crack house, and like, you know, a shanty town.
A shanty town. It's like a brothel in Nicaragua.
I mean, I'm familiar with the spot. I remember the one time the bartender threw some dude out of the bar and got hit by a car.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's not.
I mean, I was so down to go.
Thank
in
you.
the daytime, though, we would have been totally safe.
That's not true. That's not true. The moment you walk in there, it turns nighttime. It's one of those places, man. You go in there, you're like, how's it? Why is it thundering?
It's like you walk in there and it's like you look at the end of the bar and there's like a scantily clad fucking what's the name of this chick from the Dust Till Dawn?
The Selma Hayek, where she turns into the vampire. Yeah, great movie.
She's like a fucking pig.
Such a great movie.
That's Jada Cole's. You just described Jada Cole's. You look it down the bar, and it's just a bunch of. I'm like, they let you put makeup on this pig? Oh, it's a woman. Okay. Oh, I guess it's 3:00 in the morning.
I neither condone nor support nor endorse any of the words or statements.
Okay, that's good. I was gonna ask you a fairly controversial question about your life, but unfortunately, much like Daniel, you guys are very apprehensive about like mentioning anything because of your significant others and your ability to get stabbed in the neck while you're sleeping. If you say anything,
in the neck, bro, for sure. I'm scared of that girl.
yeah, she would stab you in the neck because I've asked you before, Daniel. I'm like, hey man, Daniel, what's your worst situation? And you're like, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna talk about anything in regards to your penis and your previous life. But okay, I don't know where I was going with that apart from just Jada Cole's closing, but it's a sad day.
It is. Yeah, I was pretty bummed out when I saw that. This moment is a moment of silence for Jada Cole.
I think we've reached the end of our rope here in terms of conversation about playing cards and life in general. Omar, do you have any parting words that you'd like to implore?
No, I mean just to thank you very much for having me on your channel.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate it. But yeah, let's reconvene soon and see what we can figure out, man. See what kind of content after this whole pandemic bull crap goes away. Yeah. Lord knows when that's going to happen. Now they're opening stuff up again. So it's just going to get people sick. And
I'm heading to the beach tomorrow, baby. I'm going to go swim with those dirty fucking coronavirus bitches. What? I'm not going to do it.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, unfortunately, I would love to because now, obviously, we have more time than ever. So right now would be probably the best time to do it. But I don't want to cough on you. You don't want to cough on me. Well, I want to do a lot of things on you that I can't.
No, we've been like social distancing for like 3 weeks. Like we haven't seen anybody else.
So how would you have gotten? Are you getting like food delivered and shit? Like, are you doing that?
Yeah, we're just
Okay.
party.
All right. Yeah, I found that out recently. That's another scam. Instacart
Oh yeah.
had some lady come
Well,
in.
you and I went to go pick up groceries the other day. That was a whole mission in itself, bro.
Yeah, that. Speaking of downtown Nicaragua, we walked into that grocery store that you
Audi.
you recommended, and it was literally like stepping into Beirut. There's boxes everywhere. There's
It was not.
I thought I was gonna get stabbed, honestly. But apart from that, Omar, thank you for joining us here. As usual, you're a delight to look at and to talk to, and any opportunity I have to pull you away from your significant other, I do appreciate, because honestly, she's my competition.
I hate to break it to you, bud.
Wow.
That's a good response, though, bro.
That's denial.
That's a good response, man.
That's a denial, man. But thank you for joining, and also I think that we should end this here, right? Like with Omar and the thing, and then this is how we.
It's whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah, I think we should do that. So thank you guys for watching. All right, thank you guys for sticking around. We're gonna be back probably Saturday. Maybe we might do another stream Saturday. Depends. I don't know if we're gonna get anyone there. If not, we'll just have a Sunday stream or a Saturday stream. All right, that's how we do things on Ham Radio. But as usual, you guys should always remember to spade or neuter yourselves and stay safe.
All right, give me the code word.
I like black women.